throwing throw. As many style points as you can produce.
Oh my goodness! Out of nowhere.
Oh, she's falling.
She's saying no, but
She's mad, but she still can't even stand.
she's so wobbly.
Sean Whaley is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, welcome in everyone to a brand new edition of Axe Kick Picks. Today is November the 3rd, 2023, episode 68. And boy, do we have a good one. I am your host, D-Rock, and joining me from the golf capital of the world, Shiesty? Or is that Joe D? What's going on, kid?
Hey, yeah, I got the Shiesty on. I'm feeling that way. I finished second on the world for this morning's Friday Fights 39. So I'm feeling good. And just so y'all know, I got a quick play for one Friday Fight 16. Fight Night 16. I got the main event, obviously, one of the world's best strikers, Jonathan Haggerty. He's taking on Fabricio Andrade. And, a pure kickboxer to Andrade who's competed in mixed martial arts, man. I got to go with the dog in this one. I think he's super explosive. If Fabricio Andrade can put the pressure on from the beginning, I think he can have it in the bag. I honestly think it's going to be a tough one. I think it goes to decision, but that's how he's going to do it. If he could stay explosive and counter Jonathan Haggerty in this one, I think the dog can do it. So plus 140 odds. I'm taking it. Early play for y'all. Let's go. I think we're in for an exciting fight.
What time does one start tonight?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock on Amazon Prime, correct?
Yes, sir.
Love it. By the way, how was BKFC? I saw you had great seats last week. How was it?
Yeah, man. Excellent. Honestly, it was great. Seeing our boy win live was just fantastic. And he's doing a show this weekend as well. So, kudos to him staying active. He's got an MMA fight coming up. We're staying active in this world, and I got more to come for BKFC when we get into 10 seconds left.
I love it, Joe. But yeah, glad you had a good time. I saw you sent me pictures. It looked really good. Fucking blood everywhere. That's what you love about
almost
BKFC.
Caught a tooth.
Hey, if you catch a little souvenir, you got to hold on to that. I love it. But yeah, great show for you guys. We'll recap. What an amazing performance by Francis Ngannou down there in Saudi Arabia. We'll discuss that. UFC is back in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We got big main card there. And we'll continue Rio month in Saudi Arabia. WWE Crown Jewel is in Saudi Arabia. So we got preview and plays there. And then obviously some MMA news. And Joey will get us out with some 10 seconds left, some picks. And BKFC, correct?
Yes, sir. And it's two events, a doubleheader weekend.
I love it. Joe, let's start in last week in the boxing match. Francis Ngannou taking on Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury defeats Francis Ngannou via split decision, 94-95, 96-93, which is the worst scorecard I've ever seen, and 95-94. I guess real quick, I want to know how you scored it. In real time, I scored it 96-93 Francis. And then I went back and said, you know what? Round one was actually very close. And then I gave it to Tyson. So I gave it 95-94 Francis. I still think he won. I don't want to hear robbery. It's not a robbery. It was just a very close fight. But once I heard the 96-93 scorecard, I knew they weren't going to give Francis the fight. But one, how did you score? And two, how impressive was Francis Ngannou?
Yeah, I'll start with the impressive aspect. He's absolutely redeemed the MMA community with that, knocking down one of, arguably the greatest fighters, greatest boxers, let alone heavyweight boxers in history. He put on a performance, I'll be honest, and it was impressive. I think even boxers in the stands said that Ngannou won that fight. So, I look back at my scoring and I did it live. I did it unbiased. And though I had the Tyson Fury prop hit of him winning via decision, I just felt, the ball was in his court. You know what I mean? The judges on his side, the whole boxing community themselves are going to want to back their guy. And I just don't think he expected, expected this out of Francis Ngannou at all. Like I said, you said that he was training hard, and I do think that he trained hard. He had the longest camp of his career, but it's the serious factor. I really don't think that he thought that Francis was legit, but man, we broke it down properly. He dropped them, and we figured that he would catch up in the later rounds to win on the judges' scorecards, and that's what happened. But as I went through the rounds, I think the most controversial round for me there was two of them. It's honestly the second round where Francis Ngannou did look like he won that round. Yeah. But I think the majority of the control was still in Tyson's. That was probably the most controversial one because he did get a little wobbled. But like I said, I feel like he had control of the ring. But then it changed in the next round. And third, he got dropped. He felt what wobbled him in the second actually caught him and gave a 10-8 round to Francis there. But I actually had what made it weird is that the seventh round for me, I was a toss-up. As the only round that I saw, I scored a draw. That is kind of the kicker. If I were to say that Francis Ngannou won that round, he would have wound up on my scorecards with a draw because the fact that Tyson won that, because that round was scored a draw, Tyson wound up winning by which is essentially a point. Let's see it. Like I said, if it's a 10-10 round, right now my final score is 96 Tyson Fury, 94, not 93. I don't know. I already got the 93 from 94 for Ngannou. Let's say you take the point away from Tyson Fury, you're going to give it to Francis Ngannou. That's a 95-95. So, I mean, it was that close. For those who said that Tyson Fury won dominantly, that's foolish.
Ridiculous. It's foolish.
And you can't say necessarily that Francis Ngannou won dominantly either, but he shocked the world. He showed that, there were better boxers in the MMA community coming out than Conor McGregor, let's say. We saw Anthony Pettis fight Roy Jones Jr. in his 60s.
Granted, he's 60-year-old.
Yeah, so I mean, it's you can see there were better boxers. I mean, that matchup might not have been the most ideal one, but I mean, the thing is there's better boxers coming out of the MMA community. I think the boxing world got fortunate by grabbing the ones that weren't as proficient in it. So Francis Ngannou redeemed us. He shocked the world. He proved that he's legitimate. They ranked him 588th as a half-star boxer. I wonder what all the other boxers, he's better than 1,000 other boxers. What is their star rating? I mean, Francis Ngannou, Joe Rogan came out and said that he can probably beat all of them. He can beat maybe every heavyweight on the planet. And that power, man, speaks for itself. He can absolutely do so. So, as much as I had scored it in favor of Tyson Fury, you could see that a draw is possible, that Francis Ngannou with that knockdown won the fight. But I just said that the savior of boxing, Tyson Fury, wasn't going to lose down the judges' scorecard. And I hope y'all played what I had said, which was a Tyson Fury via decision at plus 600. So that did hit.
Yeah, Joe, you broke it down perfectly to the nose, getting you the decision victory. I mean, if you had it down to the split decision, I think that would have been even better. But this is so fascinating. I could go so many directions, but I want to hit on what you said. I want to get your thoughts real quick. Well, you mentioned the elbow, right?
I did not.
Has it? Oh, okay. Sorry, you were going in and out, and I thought you mentioned the elbow taking the point. What did you mention? Because you went in and out. I apologize.
No, I apologize. I don't know what's going on with my audio, but what I was saying was the round that I scored in the seventh was a draw, and if you went and gave it to Francis Ngannou, that would have made it draw on my technical scorecard, and you could have scored the second round for Francis Ngannou, which would have won him the whole fight. But the elbow, I don't know how intentional it was.
I don't think it was, but my man he ate that shit.
Yeah, he did. You saw he got a little rocked too because he went cross-eyed a little, Francis. But, even though I don't think it was intentional, I think, honestly, Tyson Fury is that good. Like, these guys are that skilled that when he got the I think he meant to hit him. I don't think he meant to throw it, but once he was there, he just said, let me just pop him real quick, and he popped him.
Yeah.
And it is an illegal move. The Superman punch is not an illegal move.
I love that
in boxing as long as it's above the belt line. And the one foul that was the elbow. But like I said, the ref didn't see it as intentional. I don't think it was intentional. But I just think these guys are so good that, man, that elbow he was able to land when he wanted to. And Francis Ngannou, he really didn't put any body behind that third round clubbing left hook. He was all arm. So you could just tell the amount of power that Francis has. It's legit. It's fearful.
100%.
And strikes fear in the heart of anybody.
And the reason I just brought that up wasn't to say, oh, you should have deducted a point, because I don't think it was intentional. I was just talking about the chin of Francis Ngannou. A lot of people were talking about, he's going to get wobbled later in the round once Tyson starts picking him off. My man was changing stances from orthodox to southpaw, just like Tyson. And to be honest, he was looking good, Joe. I mean, the switch standings, and you don't really see that in boxing. You see that more in MMA. So when I honestly thought he had some success in his southpaw stance. To be honest, I thought he was great in the clinch. He was moving Tyson Fury like a rag doll.
Man, he was hitting him hard in the clinch. He really was. And Tyson felt it. You know, he made some faces that he did not like those positions. And
that's how Tyson beats 99% of the fighters. He leans on them. He wasn't doing that to Francis. Francis was throwing him around. I did think after he knocked him down in the third, I thought he got a little headhunting happy. I thought he kind of got away from his game plan. Eric Nixon, coach of the year.
Yes.
Him and the guy, his other coach, Dewey. I mean, what a game plan. Yeah, Dewey Cooper, thank you. The game plan that they put, and not to get a traditional boxing coach or a boxing camp, shout out them, man, because their game plan was amazing. The only thing I wish, and shout out Roman Reigns, you mentioned he's laughing somewhere, but that Superman punch was amazing.
Hey.
But the only thing I wish, and I'm surprised actually about his cardio. I thought Francis's cardio might not have lasted all those rounds, but he looked good in the 7th, 8th, and even 9th and 10th round. My only issue with Francis's game plan was I wish he kind of left it out there in the 9th and 10th round, because that was going into the 9th and 10th round. I think you and I were texting each other. We were like, hey, this is the fight. It's down to these 2 rounds. Yes. And if he kind of just let his hands go a little bit, and you kind of sense that both of these fighters kind of respected each other's power. That was my only issue. I wish he just kind of went for it a little more in 9th and 10th rounds, but yeah, I just can't say enough. I thought he won the fight. I thought he won the night. And you mentioned moving to MMA, like or boxers. Now you got Dan Hanley trying to fight Sugar Sean now. And I think if Francis would have got knocked out or lost really bad, it would have been over. The crossovers would have been over. But now I think it opens the gates for other people, like a champion Sean Strickland. We saw the Philly Shell. You mentioned Sean O'Malley. I think he could be a good fight, but it's just hard doing it cross promotions with UFC. I think Conor McGregor he's in a world of his own. He gets to fight by different rules. Yes. So I just think it opens the door for other avenues and other fighters.
If you haven't heard, Dana White was on Donald Trump Jr.'s podcast, Triggered, and he was speaking about the fight, actually. It's the first time that we heard about Dana White's remarks.
He didn't shame him either?
Well, no, he just said that it was crazy that he lasted 10 rounds. They asked him, do you think that you're going to promote some of your fighters to box? And he goes, no. So, that's the unfortunate, even though we think the door is open, I think you're right. The UFC and Dana White is not going to want to promote this kind of like gimmicky, fights, these gimmicky boxing matches. I think that's just the approach that they want to take. And, he was mentioning those names that I did before, Conor McGregor's fight with Floyd Mayweather, Anthony Pettis' fight with Roy Jones Jr. So he says that it's possible, but it seems that he doesn't want to get he or himself or his fighters involved.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And to be honest, Joe, I don't even think it was Francis versus boxing. I think it was Francis versus MMA, because defying all the odds, doing, not signing the deal with John Jones and getting that fight in the UFC, banking on himself. And you had all these people. Shout out your boy Dave Feldner, BKFC, calling him. He's asking for too much. Chetri in 1. He said he's delusional. Eddie Hearn, great promoter. He said his boy will knock him out in 4 or 5 rounds.
Eddie Hearn made a complete 180 on that.
And look who's laughing now. He's laughing to the bank. He made 10 to 20 million this fight. And what do you think next fight's going to make? He's going to make 30, 40 million, Joe.
Exactly, because if he went. Now, another instance I got to mention is Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer came out and stated that the pay-per-view buys were not good for Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. And I want to see the numbers. But if that was the case and he made $10 million, I would expect that the performance that he put out, I think that's why they weren't in many buys. People were expecting Tyson Fury to mop the floor with him.
100%.
And that's why they weren't invested. But the fact is, he dropped him. You got that working into this next fight. If he fights a Deontay Wilder or an Anthony Joshua, which I think are the 2 most viable options for boxing, man, yeah, you're right. He's going to make 30 million, and those pay-per-view buys are going to increase. So I think the proof is in the pudding.
100%. And the prince, the royal majesty of Saudi Arabia, he's the biggest person in combat sports right now. And I'm not even over exaggerating, because it doesn't matter if the business side was a flop. The next one is going to be even bigger. He flew out. We saw the picture. All those legend boxers. You had Eminem. You had Kanye West there. You literally had
Izzy was in the photo. Abdul Razak was in the photo.
Izzy was there. Chuck Liddell, the Iceman. Only 2 ones with the UFC gloves. Shout out them.
Yeah, shout out.
Like, I just think it doesn't matter. Saudi Arabia is the king of this boxing and combat sport industry right now, because it doesn't matter how it is or what the pay-per-view buys are. Yeah, even if I agree. I think the hour intermission between co-main and main event was an atrocity. There was we couldn't hear inside the corner in between rounds.
No.
Honestly, the production was shit.
Little shoddy. It definitely was. And I think that's not spoken about enough. I think we had a good discussion on the chat about the delay, but I honestly didn't see as much news about it, because that was
you're not going to. But the Prince of Saudi Arabia already has a deal for Tyson Fury in the next year. He has to fight. The president of the PFL did come out. He was on Ariel Wani's show. He did come out and say he needs to fight one time in 2024 in the PFL. But the problem with that, Joe, is like you mentioned, like spinning this forward now, what's next for Francis besides the John Jones fight, which I guess if everyone puts their fucking ego aside, they can get it done. Granted, he's hurt. He's going to be out a year now. But that's the only interesting fight, unless, I mean, we've heard Deontay Wilder is serious about MMA. They said he's been training for several months. Is there a chance that he could face him in like an MMA type world? Because that would be so bad for Wilder.
Yeah, but he's got the balls to do that. And I have the utmost respect for Deontay Wilder for doing that. And, you know, some ego is associated in the fight game to the fighters. You need to have that ego. I think Sean O'Malley struggled with that, not really putting his ego first. And once he did, he's now the champ. But I think the same thing is associated to the businesses. These businesses have their ego attached to them. And if they were to say, fortunate, because who pays the price? The fighters and the fans do. But man, I would love to see it. I would love to see Deontay Wilder hit with 4-ounce gloves. That would be impressive. Man, we don't know. Anything could happen there. You know, not really as fine-tuned with the grappling aspects, but I mean, you get him a good camp, maybe have them fight in a PFL towards the end of the year. I think that's viable. I think the boxing world can put a hold on it, allow them to fight MMA and say, hey, you know what? You did get MMA. Now let's get mine in boxing. So that's another approach. Let's kind of reverse it. Let's see how the puzzles fit here. Well, it doesn't have to be written in stone.
Question to you: what do you want? Because I think that honestly, I'm a little biased. I really want to see Tyson, not Tyson, excuse me. I want to see Francis in MMA again. But how do you say no to 30, 20 million? Like in boxing, like who's he gonna fight? A rematch between Tyson Fury? You got Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn's obviously putting his guy out there, like, or you get a mixed fight in MMA with Deontay Wilder.
In the PFL, there's going to be less elbows thrown than there was in that boxing match, I tell you. But man, it would be cool to see him fight anyone. I mean, in the PFL, there are some solid heavyweights, but are they on the level of Francis? I think not. You know, I think the argument could be made, but I just, you know, we haven't seen that. So. Yeah, man, I think it is kind of left for Francis to fight these boxers. And the only one that I heard of coming over to mixed martial arts would be Deontay Wilder. I haven't heard anything about Anthony Joshua. I want the John Jones fight. I mean, you know, I wanted Stipe to fight John this month. I wanted that to happen. We lost that, unfortunately. I've seen that video was earth-shattering and painful to watch, seeing John go down like that. You know, Francis as well, you got to think he's more in his prime too. John is kind of in his twilight. It's so sad to say, but that's just because that's what's going on. And man, what do I want to see? Yeah, it's the truth. I want to see Francis Ngannou fight John Jones for the baddest in the world, you know, because those are the two that are pretty much in debate for the baddest on the planet. So that's what I want to see if you're asking. But what's probably the most realistic is I do think that they're going to try to get the boxing match in before the MMA match. But like I said, I don't think it should be written in stone. If it works the other way, do it. Let's cater to these fighters. Let's cater to the fans, and let's promote it well. Let's get good production behind it. Let's have the PFL maybe back it in the boxing aspect, because Just got reports from them. They also lost $47 million last year. So the UFC makes $611 million. The PFL loses $47 million. And I know the UFC was operating the red back in the day, and you could say the same for the PFL now, but they need to get their shit together. I'll be real.
Just get used to it. And I think you were mentioning how the business side of the fight was a bust. And I agree. One, people didn't even know it was on at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I think that hurt it as well, not being on prime time on a Saturday night.
They need to be on it. They need to be on it, man.
And I don't think both of them. I think Francis, I don't think Fury, I don't think either of them kind of promoted the fight either until the week of the fight. And now
I didn't see that ad. Remember the ad where he broke the glass? That I didn't see that till the week of the fight, like you said.
No.
But spinning it forward.
Yeah, no, spinning it forward for Tyson, he's not going to fight Usyk now on December 23rd. He can't.
No, I honestly don't think he'll be ready. But that's
he
the
said
next
it in
fight.
his post-fight interview. He said that I'm gonna go home. The guy was standing right there. Alexander Usyk was standing
You
right
would
there.
expect the winner to have a face-off with his next opponent, right?
And he goes, "No, I just had a kid. I'm going home. I'll see you guys basically next year." That's what he said. And to be honest, I don't want to backtrack, but the reason I think Tyson looked as bad as he did, ring rust is a real thing. We didn't see him in the ring for over a year and a half.
True. This
so
is true.
He just
I don't think we talked about that enough as well. And I feel bad for Alexander Usyk. Last fight he had the kind of letdown performance against Dubois because he got dropped. But man, I don't know, man. Boxing is dead, brother. Or heavyweight boxing specifically.
So if you're Usyk, do you wait? Do you just sit and wait for that fight because
he wants
not
that
be
lineal?
A bigger, yeah,
that's the biggest fight. He wants the lineal champ. They're both the only undefeated heavyweight boxers left. Anthony Joshua lost. You know what I mean? Deontay Wilder lost. So those are the two guys that will define era. And be honest, though I was hard on Usyk, that performance with Tyson Fury makes me fearful because Usyk is very technical. He gets in tight, and we've seen those clinches. If he studies that tape, he might want to utilize the clinch. You said Tyson Fury batters opponents in there, but he's a little too long for it. I do think that he likes rope-a-dope. He uses his footwork well. Usyk can make it dirty. So I want to see it as well. I do want to see that fight.
Yeah, it's just very, very interesting. Last note on the thing, I mentioned Eric Nixon. He coached Sean Strickland to a world title against Israel Adesanya, one of the best middleweights in the UFC history. And now he coaches Francis Ngannou, and he basically impressive decision loss. I know it's a loss. It's still an L, but he won.
He won the hearts and minds of millions.
And not just coach of the year for MMA, he's coach of the year for boxing. We'll have our award show after UFC 296 come late December, early January. We'll have our award show. I'll let you know right now, Eric Nixon is coach of the year for me. I don't care, Joe.
Absolutely. And in the famous words of Conor McGregor, we're not here to take part. We're here to take over.
I love, speaking of Conor McGregor, he was there. I love how he goes, "Oh, you got to hit him with the leg. Hit him one leg kick."
Yo, one of the more beautiful images I saw now aspect, but Mike Tyson, he got asked, he's like, "What did you think of the fight?" And he goes, "What did you think of it?" And he goes, "I thought Francis won." He goes, "We know he did. We all know the outcome." Yo, that was a beautiful, serene moment. Everyone was cheering on Francis, and they turned the camera to Mike, and then turned it back to it was beautiful. You had to see it.
Oh, it was great. I also love the picture with Oscar De La Hoya and Connor. They said, "Get the white out." Get the white. I joke.
Where's Dana White? He'll get on.
Overall, I did think it was a very impressive win. So shout out Francis, man. I'm glad he was able to get the bag. First time his family was able to see him fight. Very hard to get a visa out of Cameroon. His Majesty in Saudi Arabia, say what you want about the politics and how they do things over there. But, man, they treated everyone in first class. They flew all the family out there. They had security if they wanted to go out into town. If they wanted to go to the mall, they had security wait for them dinner. So everything that I heard, man, I would love to go see a fucking fight in the Middle East. But
me too. Hey, let me know. We're going.
We're going, kid. Before we get into our picks, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. No wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys or an elderberry on a Saturday night watching UFC St. Paulo, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Cake Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Joe, we are headed to beautiful Sao Paulo, Brazil. Prelims start at 6 p.m. here on the East Coast. Main card starts at 9, a little later in the day. Unfortunately, we have 2 fights canceled. Islam Bonfim and Vince from Hell. Pascal that fight is off. And credit Vince Pascal too. You know, you got to give credit. He was a professional. He missed weight initially, then came back, made weight. And Bonfim just couldn't make the weight. He missed it by 3.5 pounds.
A little heavy.
And I'm actually, and people think, Joe, you and I wrestle, 3.5 pounds is a lot. I don't want to hear what anyone says. 3.5 pounds is a lot. If I could cut the 3 extra pounds, you could do it too. You signed the contract, and I hope more fighters stick to their guns and say, you know what? No, I'm not going to fight you. Just what Stephen Wonderboy Thompson did. You know, some of these guys, yeah.
Are they just guaranteed their show bonus and the percentage of the other person's show bonus? The fact that they didn't fight, is that all that they're promised? I don't know necessarily.
So from my understanding about how Stephen Wonderboy Thompson with Michelle Pereira went down, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was taking care. Michelle Pereira did not get anything. Now, if they were to fight, he was going to receive 30% of his purse.
So these guys aren't getting anything.
So they don't fight. They don't get paid anything. I guess they pay for their flight. That's about it.
But they're in Brazil. Most of them are already home. So
exactly, that's the thing. And then Victor Hugo and Daniel Morocos.
I'm sad about that one.
Yeah, that was a very good one on the undercard. Victor Hugo missed weight by 2.5 pounds as well. But yeah, very
unfortunate. Stepped in last minute, so you can't necessarily blame all too much on him. He literally got up off the couch from Dana White.
It was a short notice fight, but I also got to give credit. You can't fault the other guy for not accepting the fight.
He's got an undefeated record, and he wants to keep that. He came off a controversial win against Davey Grant in his last outing, so I think he wanted to make a statement in this one. And you know, with all this, I don't think he wanted to go in it.
Joe, this was going to be an amazing main event. I was so excited, and to be honest, I'll pull back the fourth wall a little bit for you. I was going to take Curtis Blades. I thought his stand-up was going to be better, and I thought his takedown defense was going to give jail time some problems.
Jail time.
Jail time.
That's what it's like now, fighting him.
It literally is. We've seen it firsthand in Charlotte.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Now they call in Derrick Lewis, who was arrested for reckless driving about a week before he got the call. He was going 136 in a 50-mile-an-hour zone in his red Lamborghini in his hometown, Houston. Apparently, he passed a state trooper and he was weaving in and out of traffic. The heavyweight was arrested, but he was let go on $100 personal recognized bond. Yep. Basically, a recognized bond. If anyone doesn't know, you're giving your word to the court system and to the judicial system, basically saying you will be at your next court date, which is December 27th.
Yeah, now, a reconnaissance bond. Yes.
Now, if you are sentenced or convicted of this I guess crime, you could say, 30 days in jail and a $200 fine. But most of these cases, I was looking into it, the defendant's just going to take a driver's safety course, pay a court fine, and they're going to be on their way. Now, do you think this affects, we'll get into the main event, but real quick, how much do you think this affects Derrick Lewis in this fight?
I don't think it affects him at all. I just don't know his decision-making into like doing this before the fight. You know what I mean? Like you risk a lot. I think he's brushing it off. You know, that's Derrick Lewis' type of personality. And you saw in his interviews, he was saying like, it wasn't even me. You saw the dude had hair. So the person who got arrested wasn't even me, but we know it was him. It's just funny how he approaches these things, and he's jovial. He's definitely one of the funniest on the roster. And
But
man,
Joe,
it's
let's
just
not forget he took an 8-fight extension in the UFC. This is good. He on a short-term fight or a short notice fight. You're telling me Dana White didn't throw the bag at him and said, "Hey, step up here." He probably got a
but
hell of a lot of money.
I mean, not to go into too much of psychology, but we whether or not we can help ourselves, I think there's some sort of self-sabotaging that can be done. I don't know necessarily Derrick Lewis's past, if he has family members that struggle with like addiction or anything of that, but this could come into play that, you grow up in certain circumstances and you kind of, you want to buck trends, but at the end of the day, you grew up with them. And so bad habits are hard to break. And so whether or not, speeding is a habit, I mean, the decision making that led up to it is.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't think he's now in Brazil.
Yeah.
It was in Houston. I think he's a hero there. So I don't think they're gonna be, then they pull them over. They're probably like, Derrick Lewis, what the hell? You know what I mean?
Imagine the cop putting the handcuffs on him.
There might be a selfie low key somewhere.
Oh my God.
But
yeah, I don't think it's gonna bother him. He made light of the situation. Like I said, most of these cases end up just taking a driver's ed course. He'll be fine. He's probably gonna pay a fine and he's gonna move on. But just wanted your perspective on it real quick. Joe, let's get into it. We'll start in the main card. What do you got, kid?
All right, and to start us up with UFC Sao Paulo, we're in Brazil for this fight night, and I think it's an exciting one. It kicks off with Cauê Fernandes, a dog at plus 160, taking out Mark Diakese at minus 160. This was early in the week. I think the odds are coming a little closer. Not necessarily. I still see plus 160 for Fernandes, but more money's coming in on Diakese. He's swelling up to a minus 200 favorite, but I would kind of be worrisome about that. I'm staying away from this fight too early in the night for me to get involved. Mark Diakese can win on the feet. He could utilize some grappling, but he can also not show up traveling all the way to Brazil. So it's just a very fearful fight for me, and I would be mindful of getting into it. So yeah, let's get into the next fight where we had our first weight miss of the evening. Eduardo Moura, who was a minus 400 favorite, missed weight also by about 2.5 pounds, I believe. Maybe more significant. I think they have to get approved for a catchweight ballot. I think that's the only one that did. But Conejo Montserrat Ruiz at plus 360. She's a dog. She's just a little small. And being that the line's so different and so spread out, you want to take a dog like that. But once again, I think this is too early of a fight to get involved with. I do think Ruiz is going to have to use her wrestling to actually win this fight because she's just so much smaller within her reach and her height. But Eduardo Moura's got really good jiu-jitsu, and I think that's going to work against her. I just don't know which way to approach it. Is the wrestling going to take hold and jiu-jitsu not going to show up, or is the jiu-jitsu going to, prevail? I just want to stay away from a fight like this, especially with a weight miss. Love it. And the next fight is something that I think you're going to get on the board earlier than I am. This is a rare occasion, my friend.
Rare.
Angela Overkill Hill at a plus 110 dog when I saw it is taking on Denise Gomez at minus 125. And right now, Angela Hill is still around the same plus 115 I see, and Denise Gomez is swelling to as much as a minus 135, minus 140. So what you got, D? Because I have nothing.
Joe, I know I always make fun of this woman, and I give her shit all the time. I make fun of the kill. It's not no kill, because she doesn't kill anyone. It's no kill Hill. But I got to take her here. Give me the dog. Plus 115? Huh? It's like Chris Berman. Huh? Plus 115, man. I think this fight is going to come down to round one. We know Denise Gomes, she has the power. If she could withstand round one and that output Gomes is going to throw at her, Angela Hill's going to take that veteran treatment to her in rounds 2 and 3. She's a dog. She's going to dig deep. I got to take her here. I usually don't take her, but I do think this is a good matchup for her here. Over in Brazil, give me the plus money to start the night. Angela Hill plus 115.
The dogs are barking early. I love it, man. The thing about Angela Hill, if I could give an observation, is that you're exactly right with your analysis. In the first round, that's when she tends to get caught with a submission or, she gets, beat up a little bit. But most of her fights, in a percentage-wise, after that first round, she winds up winning most of the time. And I know she has a lot of losses on her record, but if you look back, a lot of them are first-round losses. So I think you explained it perfectly. I really think that if she gets out of that first round unscathed and she can keep the fight off the ground, her striking will come into play, and that's a good live dog to start us up.
Let's go.
Yeah, brother. I got this next fight here, and I think a lot of people are excited for this guy because they have a high expectation, possibly thinking he could be a future champ. That's Vitor Petrino here. Got a $2 dog when $2 favorite when I saw him. He's swelling up to minus 250. So money's coming in his favor, but Modestas Bukakas, I've always been a fan of. You know, he's on a 3-fight winning streak, but before that, he was on a 3-fight skid where, you know, he fought some dogs, man. Khalil Roundtree absolutely eviscerated his knee with that side check knee. Like, man, it was so brutal. If you ever see that, man, or you want to avoid getting your knee caught like that, watch that and just try not to get yourself in a position where someone can try to rip your knee off, man. But I like it. I got to agree with all my Brazilian friends. Just the ability on the feet, man. You know, I hit with Rodolfo Bellato in Dana White Consider's back. Vitor Petrino knocked him out twice. Now, man, I got to say that if he has the jiu-jitsu skills and he can put it together on the feet, this dude does have the opportunity of being a future champ. All my plays for today are going to be straight up, but Vitor Petrino is my first leg of my 2-leg parlay, which he's at my 100. So I got to take him because I'm also expecting great things from this man. And do you have anything in that, my brother?
No, sir. Not until the main card.
And I'll get right into the next fight. Elias dos Santos Zaleski is taking on Rinat Fakhretdinov. And, man, I got a big separation of odds here. Zaleski's a plus 300 dog. Swelling all the way up to plus 340 on some books. Rinat Fakhretdinov is a minus 350. Let's see where he's swelling to. Minus 400 now. So the books are in his favorite. People are calling him overrated. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think you got to look at his resume. I think he is crushing cans. Unfortunately, if you want to consider Kevin Lee one, I just think he's out of his prime. He got him out of there in the first quick with that vicious guillotine. If you look back at a lot of Rinat's fights, he winds up going to the judges' scorecards. So I got a sneaky play for you because, you know, Elias Zaleski dos Santos is super sneaky play. He's just coming off an illness and, you know, he's like a bigger guy for the weight class, so I don't see him getting finished. So my official play is a prop. I will be taking a favor here, but I'm going to take him via decision at plus 200 because I do see Elias being able to, you know, pressure, you know, it makes me pause for concern that this could be a split decision in his favor because, you know, he is a very athletic fighter. But I just think that if the skill set matches and he can find a way to wrestle, this is Fakhretdinov's fight to lose. And I got to say that the prop is the most value that I saw, which was him winning on the judges' scorecards via decision at plus 200.
I was thinking that. I mean, this guy's going to be a beast. Russian. He's top 15th in the welterweight division. I was looking at this fight, but he was just so pricey. Even at that, I just couldn't get to the window. But I do think he is the right side.
Yeah, I do. You know, he could wind up getting a finish. That's why. But I just saw that the value wasn't all there for me. I think the value was in the decision. You look at his resume. You look at the fights coming off of. I think a decision's viable in this one, especially against a tough opponent. And he's in his hometown, Zaleski. So
sure.
That next fight that would have been on the card would have been the Daniel Marcos against Victor Hugo. Just want to FYI, Daniel Marcos was a minus 240 favorite, and Victor Hugo was a plus 205 dog. But that fight has been called off. So.
Terrible.
It's a shame. I want to mention the other fight that's also been called off, which is the Ismail Bonfim fight. He was a minus 440 against, you said, Vink from Hell Pachel at plus 390. He was the biggest dog in the card that I saw. Maybe besides Montserrat Ruiz, I think you could see different books, but that fight's been called off as well. And, you know, you gave credit to Vince from Hell Pachel, but Ismail Bonfim, man, I think he's on the hot seat. He needs to get his act together. You know, he did win his last fight, but he got knocked out by T-Rex, our boy, and he's missing weight time and time and again. He needs to figure it out, or they're going to say, you know, you got to move a weight class, which won't suit him well, or they might cut him, and you got to be wary with that. So
he's the older one, right?
I don't know.
Younger?
I don't know.
They're both brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, they're brothers. You just can't get them confused. It's happened time and time again where we confuse who they're matching up against. But I'll be honest, I did favor him in that he was going to be a part of some parlays and he was going to be a piece for others. But now what's taking over the prelim featured bout is going to be Elvis Brenner taking on Kanan Khrushchevsky, Dana White Center Series alum. And he is a plus 170 dog, Khrushchevsky is, and he's taking on Brenner, who's a minus 170 favorite. And I'm seeing the line now. I'm seeing some money come in on on
Krzyzewski.
Krzyzewski. Yeah, a little
he's
bit.
+1. He's +130, and you got Elvis Brenner at -150.
Yeah, exactly. So, here's my opinion on the fight. I didn't want to take a side. I got something else coming for the same, kind of the same way, but I think this is fight of the night. You know, I'm really good at seeing how fights can play out and calling fights of the night. I think it's favored that this fight ends inside the distance. I got something for you here. I got the fight to go to the distance, to the decision at plus 100. And I think those are great odds because I feel like we're going to get a war here, a war of attrition between two guys that when you least expected, brother, because Elvis Brenner, he's a do or die kind of fighter. Kane on Krzyzewski, we've seen it at the Dana White Contender Series. He will put his life on the line to win a fight. So I think a lot of the people are seeing that one of these guys are going to finish. I think both of them have that dog in them. I think they fight it out. I think we're seeing a lot of blood. I think this gets the crowd involved, gets us right into the main card. I'm calling fight of the night here, and I'm seeing a fight going the distance at plus 200. So hopefully we get some good odds out of that.
Joe, I wish there was an option in some sports books. That's what we got to reach out to them. We got to let them know, hey, let's bet on this fight to be fight of the night.
Yeah.
And if we hit on that,
for the night even,
performance of the night, or if we're able to bet on who gets bonuses, bro, we'd be fucking lit.
That would be fantastic. I would love that. I think, that maybe do a fan and like the business aspect, like the promotion still does one, but then also there's a fan one, and now get everyone hyped. So I love to hear that. I love
maybe
to hear
we'll reach out to our friends over at Verdict.
Absolutely. That's what we'll do. And let's go into the main card for UFC Sao Paulo. And my man, I'm going to hand it over to you. I'll going down to a plus 100. They were a pick 'em here before, where Armin Petrosyan is a minus 110. Take it away, man. A very closely contested bout here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a total prop here for this fight, Joe. I was going back and forth all week on a side, but I just couldn't get to the window with either fighter. So I landed on over 1.5 rounds. Rodolfo, he's just too up and down for me. Some of his fights, his jiu-jitsu is world-class. And then other fights, we see him get submitted. He gasses out. And then on the other side, Armin Petrosyan, he's very durable. He has good takedown defense. And I do think he's going to be the better striker. I actually was leaning with him. I was going to take him on the money line. But I like the over because Rodolfo's his submissions usually come later in the fight. And I think Petrosyan is tough enough to take this fight into the second and even maybe in the third round. Lean Petrosyan on the side. Couldn't get there, but I do like over 1.5 rounds here.
Thank you for your take, man. I actually agree with you in the sense that this line is wrong. I really don't think it should be a pick 'em. Armin Petrosyan should be favorited here. But I think the reason why this line is the way it is because Rodolfo Vieira is home. He's in Brazil. And I think that home crowd advantage coming off of the feature prelim is going to be huge. And I think he's going to keep the crowd going. I had to pick a side, and I did. I went with Rodolfo Vieira on the pick 'em, but I got a prop with him as well. I'm taking him via first round submission here. Plus 425. I think he can lock it in. I think that's when they're dry, it's the best chance for him to do so. I think it's worth a play. If it doesn't happen, Armin Petrosyan was meant to win this fight because he's a better fighter. But I'm biased towards my jiu-jitsu guys. I'm biased towards my grapplers. He's pretty vicious. Watch out for the legs. Though he could take him down, if Armin maybe gets him to the ground somehow, maybe drops him somehow, watch Rodolfo going for leg locks, and if he locks it in, it'll be a quick tap because you do not want to play with a dude who's built like a fire hydrant grabbing your knee. So we've seen it before with Usmar Pal Harris. You don't want to deal with these type of muscle-bound dudes that can just grab a hold of you, strangle you, break an arm, break a limb. You don't want that. So I'm thinking while they're dry, it's his best chances to do it. I did pick a side if it doesn't work out, but I did pick the prop as my main bet, which is the first round submission plus 425. I hope you like that one.
I can't.
Hey, brother.
We're going against each other. I got over 1.5 rounds.
That's why. But hey, man, we're going into the next fight here, and I'm gonna break it down. I got Kyle, the Natural Baralho, taking on Abus Magomedov. Shout out to my man Hokage MMA, huge Abus guy, German mixed martial arts on the map here. Though he's a plus 250 dog, man, I got to go with the hometown dude. I really think momentum is massive. You cannot predict the human spirit in sports. The human element is real, and I really feel the performances that I've seen out of Kyle Baralho, I really think that he can improve. He's one of the few guys with a neck tattoo that's legit. So give me Kyle Baralho as my final leg of the 2-leg parlay. Them two combined, which was Kyle Baralho minus 250 with Vitor Petrino at minus 200, gives you a plus 110 parlay. And I think it's a rather safe one.
I love it. Yeah, I think the secret is out on Abbas, to be honest, Joe. If he doesn't finish you in the first round, he just doesn't win the fight. We saw it against the champ, Sean Strickland. Crazy how it's still crazy to say he's champion. But, Kyle Baralho, he's just a very good fighter, well-rounded. He's a black belt in judo. I think he actually gets a submission win probably in the second round after Abbas tires out, maybe even the third round. So Kyle Baralho via submission, plus 230.
I love it. Yeah, the guys I put on the parlay, the reason I think they're well-rounded, I think they can get it done anywhere, whether it's on the feet or on the ground. And the guys that they're fighting, I do think that they're a little one-dimensional, unfortunately. Do think that Abbas could maybe wrestle and use some jiu-jitsu, but I just don't think that's his game. So,
do we have a all male and women Brazil parlay this week?
No.
I thought that's the route we were going.
It did bust. I got it. Now that you brought it up, we got to fade Indian MMA. I know we talked about it. Ansel Jubilee, he was the hope of a nation, and he let us down, and he's the one sole person to bust that 10-leg parlay. If we hit, y'all would have been up $1,200. So I digress. Let's go into the next fight. These two gentlemen fought before. Dontel Mays fought Rodrigo Nascimento a couple years back and lost via submission. Do we think it repeats here? I don't know. Rodrigo Nascimento is a minus 180 favorite. Dontel Mays, when I saw him, plus 170 favorite. Underdog. I didn't have a take on this. I'm going to have my verdict predictions later up for the entirety of the card. I do have to pick a side there. But for this fight, I have it ending inside the distance at minus 150. I think either way can get it done. I think Nascimento's game is to maybe finishing it with the submission again. Dontel Mays, his game. He wants to knock you out. These heavyweights, anything can happen. And I think the fight ending inside the distance is viable at minus 150.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Joe, these two fought before. Nascimento won with a choke. But since then, I really haven't seen much improvement from Dontel Mays. Yes, he trains with John Jones, and I think that's the guy we did see when John Jones tore his pec. But it just isn't enough. It isn't translating into wins. Yeah, he got the knockout win over Petrosky, but he's 60 years old, Petrosky. So it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't move the needle for me. And Nascimento, he's just a more well-rounded fighter. He has more ways to win. Dontel Mays, he's fucked us on this show before, and I can't go back to him. So I'm going to take Nascimento straight up minus 186 and even sprinkle a little on him via inside the distance at plus 130. You there, Joe?
Yeah, I lost you. I don't know what's going on my internet today. But, I heard you take Rodrigo Nascimento straight up at minus 180. And I like that. I honestly think that
and also via inside the distance at plus 130.
Awesome. I honestly think that the line's right in this one. And looking at the line that way, minus 150, it might be a little chalky to do it for the inside the distance. Maybe you want to take, like you did, the inside the distance for Nascimento. It's a great play. So let's go into the co-main event. Brother, sorry about the internet, but here we go. Gabriel Bonfim is a minus 500 favorite, and now it's swelling to minus 650, going to minus 700. This has all the makings of a disappointment, parlay ruiner, night ender. I'm going to bed right now. Nicholas Dalby is as live as can be in this. The Danish Dynamite can stand up with the best of them. You've seen it time and time again. He breaks people's hearts. Principal bet here, baby. Nicholas Dalby, plus 465. Gabriel Bonfim's game is winning via submission. Nicholas Dalby, great takedown defense. If he can deny these takedowns for the first two rounds and piece him up on the feet, this is his fight, baby. We haven't seen Gabriel Bonfim really tested on the feet all too much. He finds his game. He's really good at it. If it does tend to work, I'll be wrong. And I'll say, you know what? You proved me wrong. But, man, I'm enticed by this. I can see it now. How do we not see this coming? The dude's never won via KO TKO. He's only won via submission. The proof's in the pudding. Nicholas Dalby is as live as can be in the co-main event slot here. I know they're trying to get these Bonfim brothers up. They want to, promote the Brazil card with having Brazil fighters win. This is a trap. I'm telling you, it really is. Nicholas Dalby has been a legitimate fighter for years now. I don't think Gabriel Bonfim has fought the who's who of the weight class. He's just entering the UFC, which is the levels. This is his test. If he passes the test, I think he could be on his way, maybe 3 or 2 fights removed from a title. But man, like I said, you may fail the test before you get to that title shot. And this may be a big learning experience for him. So I'm all over Nicholas Dalby here at plus 465.
Yeah, Joe. Gabriel Bonfim, 15-0 in his career, 2-0 in the UFC, 100% finish rate. And I do think he's going to be really good in the UFC. I really do. But this is just one of those times where I think we're getting a little too excited, a little too quick. We know how good he is on the ground. You mentioned his submission moves. He has a good guillotine. But my question is, how is he going to look when this fight gets in the middle of the second and third round? Is his energy, is his gas tank going to be there? He doesn't have the experience, and he's fighting Nicholas Dalby, who's been around forever. He's never been finished in his career. He has cardio, and if Bonfim doesn't get the submission win early, he's going to lose this fight. Give me the dog, Nicholas Dalby, plus 470. This line stinks.
I gotta love it. Oh, man, I did not expect that. I did not expect you to be on the same side as me. Great minds think alike. Gotta love it. Sure. And now, that'll take us right into the main event of UFC Sao Paulo. Super exciting matchup here. All the respect in the world to Derrick Lewis for stepping up and replacing, as you mentioned before, Curtis Blades. Jailton Almeida, rightfully so. I think he is a huge favorite for a reason. The significant strike differential is massive. I think it's like 0.08 significant strikes absorbed in the time in the octagon and only 9 in total. But if you look back, he has been knocked out and he has lost in the judge scorecards, but none of his victories have gone to the judges. He's always finished. So that would make you think that it's going to be an under fight, that, the line's right, that this is Jailton Almeida's fight to lose in his home, like in his backyard of Brazil. But I do think Derrick Lewis is live because, we've talked about the significant strikes. All it takes is one with Derrick Lewis. And that's very possible. At a plus 390 dog, I was super tempted in taking him. He's the Black Beast. We love him. Houston's own. But I do think you did mention before getting into the card about the speeding. Maybe that does affect him. I think he's trying to, push it aside. I really don't think he's trying to let that get to him. And you can see how torn I am. Do I think the line's right? Yes. Do I think Derrick Lewis is live and has a chance? Absolutely. But here are my official plays. I got to go to your bread and basket, which is having the fight to start round 2 at plus 185. I really think that if the fight doesn't end in the first round, I'm going to say you guys right now, my verdict prediction will be Jailton Almeida first round submission. But if that doesn't occur, man, all we need is it to start the second round, and that plus 185 is going to hit for you guys. And I'm compounding it with over 1.5 rounds at plus 250. So it does need to get past the 250 mark of the second round. But once that happens, I really think it's anyone's fight at that point. And that's why it was so hard for me to pick a side. I had to take these 2 props, these 2 round props, these time props, just to say that anything can happen in this fight. And though I'm going to tell you, like I said, Jailton Almeida is going to be my verdict prediction with the first round submission because it's his fight to lose. My official plays are those because I really am torn. I can't pick a side. I really can't. So I'll repeat it. Fight to start round 2 plus 185 and over 1.5 rounds at plus 250. Those are.
Joe, what time is it?
Say it again.
What time is it?
I don't know.
It's jail time, baby. Let's fucking go.
It's jail time.
Outside of flying knee from Derrick Lewis, I think Jailton Almeida finishes Derrick Lewis quick and early. I think it's submission or bust for him. I really do. I think this is a much better stylistic fight for him than Curtis Blades, who could be very tricky. Like I mentioned, I honestly was going to take Curtis Blades at that price. Do I agree with the line like you said? Absolutely. I mean, we see every line like this when it's Jailton Almeida. He fought one time in heavyweight on short notice and just stayed there. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna stay here. But to be honest, Joe, I'm actually really shocked that Derrick Lewis took this fight on short notice, coming off that nice win. If Lewis doesn't land something special or do something crazy like that flying knee did in his last fight, I feel like this fight could end badly for him. Joe, I can't believe I was able to get a -115 on Jailton Almeida via submission. I took that to the bank. That's my official play here. Hopefully he gets it in the second round, so your prop hits. But I even would sprinkle first round submission. You're gonna get a nice plus money price. I just think every fight that I've seen, we've seen him firsthand live in Charlotte. Jailton Almeida will shoot a double, shoot a takedown in less than 10 seconds. Now, Can Derrick Lewis defend it? I don't know. That's going to be the question mark, but we'll see. Official play, Jailton Almeida via submission at -115.
Wow. I haven't heard via specific have that favorite odds in a while. That's impressive. That sheds something about jail time.
Jail time, baby. Joe, good luck. Hopefully we have a good night. We hit there. What was it? +600 Tyson Fury via decision?
Yeah, and you know, if I could go back, there was a lot of other boxing we talked about. Unfortunately, the Zapata versus Gonzalez fight was called off last second, so that fight never took place. I had my dog at +170, Ramon Hernandez, take on Shaqy Foster, and he was winning every round until he got finished in the 12th and final minute of the round by Shaqy Foster. Oh, wow. He retained his WBO belt. And then Amanda Serrano couldn't get the job done when the rule set was catered to her. She won via decision.
She always wins decisions.
Yeah, I should have known better, but I just really thought they were trying to get her, you know, notarized by having her win with a KO TKO, and she still couldn't get it done. And she's a great fighter, but I mean, come on now.
Yeah, no, it's sad. We got the Katie Taylor fight coming up, the rematch in Dublin. Can't wait for that. Katie Taylor.
Get ready for Chris Cyborg, baby. Woo! He'll knock everyone out.
Joe, let's go back to the Middle East. WWE Crown Jewel this weekend in Saudi Arabia. Money talks. If they want Goldberg on the card, they're paying. You get Goldberg on the card. Undertaker hasn't fought in 10 years. You get Undertaker back here.
What the fuck?
Joe, let's start with the kickoff match.
Okay.
Your boy, Sami Zayn, taking on JD McDonough. Ooh. Straight up single match. What is your play here? Can Sami Zayn get the win?
What are the odds, brother?
Oh, that's a good fight. I haven't been able to find odds. We're just shooting from the hip, kid. We're just shooting from the hip.
I'll be honest with you. Though they consider him an outcast, I do think that they're going to try to make him one of the stable, and that being the Judgment Day will get involved in the match and have JD McDonough win.
I'm going to. Sorry, I'm getting the odds right now.
Oh, they are. See, that's the thing. That's why we'll talk about it, because you can make some money here, even though these are scripted. We don't know. They're now sealed away. They're hidden from public view. They have a whole investigative process if any leaks do happen. So the WWE is on top of their copyrights. I mean, our buddy Hal Haney got a freaking cease and desist from them in a matter of a week. So they're on top of it.
The only matches that I found odds, obviously Roman Reigns, LA Knight. You have the World Heavyweight Championship fight, the Logan Paul, Rey Mysterio, the women's one, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, and your boy Solo Sikoa and John Cena. So no odds for that one. But no, I think this is Sami Zayn's fight. You know, McDonough, he struggled in his appearance from Judgment Day. And I just think Sami Zayn, he needs to win this because he's the bigger player of the two. You know, this is the first match, and usually by the numbers, they want to warm up the crowd with someone they like.
The crowd's going to get behind Sami 100%.
100%. So I do think it's going to be Sami Zayn. But let's go to the WWE Women's Championship. Io Sky, she's the champion, taking on the baddest Bianca Belair.
The best.
Right now, let me see. Did I just say we have
the fastest? The best.
No odds for this one. But Joe, what do you like here? You going with the baddest?
No, I do think that they want to keep Io Sky. We're gonna say Io Shirai. She was that at one point, but Io Sky as champ. So I'm gonna stay Io Sky.
Yeah, I think she retains it. As much as I do like Bianca Belair,
Me too. I love Bianca Belair.
I just think, they found their like new star. She's a new edge. I wish she spoke a little more English, but Belair, she's trending in the same direction of like a Drew McIntyre. I feel like she's gonna be at a nail biter. She's gonna have all the muster and the crowd behind her, but I just don't believe in her character right now. I think they're really trying to push Sky as well. So I agree here.
It was crazy because when I saw Bianca Belair and them, she was on top of the world. She really was. And you know how the WWE does their people, it changed on an instant. On
a fly. Let's go to the singles match. The GOAT, John Cena, will take on Solo Sakai. John Cena minus 275. Solo Sakai plus 140. Going with chalk or dog?
Hey, Solo Sikoa is a problem, man. And how do you make a star? You got to have him beat a superstar. So I'm going with Solo Sikoa here. I think he beats John Cena.
Wow. I got to go the GOAT. Give me John Cena. They're not going to let John Cena lose here in Saudi Arabia. Like, that's just, the ongoing story with Cena, not having a singles match in over 5 years, and now he comes back. I think they're gonna put him off into the sunset. I know how they try to put someone over by beating someone, and we'll get to that in the main event, but I just don't think this is it right now. So I got to go on the other side. Give me John Cena. Let's go for the United States Championship. Rey Mysterio, the champion, taking on Logan Paul, who just defeated our boy Dylan Dennis. Logan Paul minus 175. Rey Mysterio catching some underdog money at plus 120. What do you got?
Give me the 619, the dog, Rey Mysterio. I think, you think that Logan Paul is going to win this. I think the story is not over yet, and I think they're going to have the title change at a bigger event. So I do think Rey Mysterio is going to win this just based off circumstance.
And new. Give me Logan Paul, baby. I think he wins it. He's proven. Hey, I don't like the Paul brothers, but Joe, you know it. I give credit where it's due. He's proven himself. He's athletic.
Hey, he's a hard worker, man.
Hard worker. He has the personality, and he's a true heel.
That's where he belongs. I'll be honest, honestly.
100%.
He belongs in the WWE, and that's what he should do.
I think he should put all of his chips, all of his energy and time into WWE, because I really think that could elevate him. I love Rey Mysterio. He's a fucking living legend, but I don't know. I think after that boxing match, I think WWE came to him. I said, listen, we're going to give you the belt. You need to put more time on TV. We got major events, like you said, Survivor Series coming up, Royal Rumble, and then we got WrestleMania. But I got Logan Paul winning it here. Give me Logan Paul, the chalk favorite here. Let's go to the next fight here. The Women's World Championship champion Rhea Ripley. Oh my God, I love her. Versus Nia Jax, versus Zoe Stark, versus Shayna Baszler, versus Raquel Rodriguez. Joe, got a bunch of women going off for Rhea Ripley. Who you got?
This is 5-on-5?
Yep.
The 5-way match?
Yep.
Bro, name the names again. You got Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax.
Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, and Raquel Rodriguez.
Who could get a pin here, bro? That's the thing. That's my question. I honestly think Zoe Stark can get pinned. All right, Zoe Stark can get pinned. No, you don't pin Rhea Ripley. That's what you don't do.
This is an interesting fight. A 5-woman in the ring, right?
Yeah, that's my thing is that Rhea can lose the belt without getting pinned or submitted, right?
Yes.
So that's my thing is you don't do that to Rhea, but I think you kind of need to start seeing what the Judgment Day is made of without their belts. And I think that's maybe what they do. I know it might be interesting if they do it in Saudi Arabia for Crown Jewel, but a 5-way?
It's very interesting. And
bro, give me Nia Jax pinning Zoe Stark to win the belt, bro.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going with my girl Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is minus 1,000. Nia Jax is the second best odds at plus 330. Shayna Baszler plus 550. Raquel Rodriguez 700. And Zoe Stark plus 900. And I agree on the part that obviously we're really not too deep into it, but I think Stark's momentum was basically dead once she split from Trish Stratus.
100%.
You know, so once that was over, I think she's kind of kaput. So we'll take her out. Rodriguez, she doesn't feel like she's
not there yet.
With the crowd. No, she's not. So I think she's done. Nia Jax, she's been on a wrecking ball since making her return. So I understand why she's the second. Shayna Baszler, she's fantastic, but
she's the baddest now that she beat Ronda.
But she really hasn't. The WWE, I feel like, this is just my opinion, I just feel like the UFC, the WWE hasn't felt very committed to her, really, outside of the, with her feud with Ronda Rousey. So I don't know. Given Rhea Ripley's momentum and just my bias because I love her, I'm going to take Rhea Ripley to retain here. I just think she's the best. But it wouldn't surprise me if Nia Jax won.
If Rhea wins, who does she pin? Zoe Stark as well?
Zoe Stark.
Yeah, she takes the pin here. That's what I think.
Let's go to the World Heavyweight Championship. Champion Seth Rollins will defend his belt against Drew McIntyre.
Damn.
Let me see. Seth Rollins minus 275. Drew McIntyre plus 165. We got a new champion here, kid.
Hey, did you ask me?
Yeah. Who do you got?
So, if looking at it, I think coming off of the bout, like the rivalry, or if you could call it a rivalry that Seth Rollins had with Shinsuke Nakamura, you would think that it could lead up to someone else, like maybe picking up where Shinsuke couldn't, capitalize, and you get Clay with the win. Is he heel right now for him to be going after the title? Drew is, right?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. I just don't think that they're going to do it to Saudi Arabia. Seth Rollins going to retain. And maybe, though, there's something that, like, if he's really heel, Seth Rollins wins legitimately, and he gets attacked after the match, and Drew McIntyre, like, puts a beating on him, starts isolating the back. There's storylines as well we got to think of with the WWE. So that's the thing. It's not just cut and dry odds. I'm going to give you what I think. No, what's happening next? Drew's going to hurt him with a, chair shot. Bow! Hit his back. And Seth's going to be like, come in the Monday Night Raw. You never should have done that. And then you got a new champ some other time, So, I mean, I'm ready for it.
Joe, here's what I got. I got a story. I should be a fucking writer for WWE. Give me Drew McIntyre. I think he wins this fight. Seth Rollins is dealing with the back injury. And I just think McIntyre, he's one of these fighters that's overdue for a title. He's one of the most compelling fighters we've seen in a while. A Drew McIntyre run could produce fresh feuds with Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes. He's had feuds with obviously Judgment Day, even Jey Uso winning the title at WrestleMania. But then the plot thickens. After winning the belt, Damian Priest cashes in and wins the title and knocks him out. Banks in the contract for Money in the Bank. He's
with all Judgment Day.
Yep. And Damian Priest goes in and wins the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. How do you like that?
About time. I'll be honest with you. It's about time. I want the Archer Infinity as champ. I'll be honest with you.
Yes. And the moment we've all been waiting for the Universal Undisputed Championship. I said it backwards. It doesn't matter. I have to stand up because I acknowledge him. And I'm not going to be disrespectful like LA Knight and sit at the head of the table. We have my tribal chief and everyone's Roman Reigns on LA Knight. Roman Reigns, a minus 2,000 plus 500 for LA Knight. Joe, I will let you lead it off. What do you got, kid?
Man, I like LA Knight. Yeah.
What? Yeah.
But you got to acknowledge your tribal chief, man. I acknowledge him every day. Okay. and you gotta respect this man. I mean, he's providing for all of us. Okay. Yeah. Without him, the whole ship sinks. So he's putting food on our table. He's putting food on your table. All right. Roman Reigns is our champion for a reason, man. I'm taking Roman Reigns to retain in Saudi Arabia. Superman punch.
Shout out to Francis Ngannou.
Shout out.
Joe, I agree. I mean, I will say this. It is great to see LA Knight kind of blossom into this guy, get a main event in a pay-per-view fight against probably one of the best to ever do it in our.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah. I just really don't think he fits into the bigger story where Reigns, the bloodline, where he all fits into where the WWE wants to take the title off of him. You know, it's also worth noting that Raymond's lengthy run and the belt is starting to approach Hulk Hogan's longest reign at 1,474 days. Wow. With how much focus, the WWE wants to put into that historic run of Roman Reigns' title, I just don't think this is going to be the fight that they take it off. You got Royal Rumble, you got Survivor coming up. It just feels a little bit too obvious that he's going to come out here and win. So I got to go my tribal chief. He puts food on not just my table, your family's table, everybody's family that listens, our table. Acknowledge him and appreciate him because we are witnessing greatness every day. So Give me Roman Reigns. Joe, it starts it's in Saudi Arabia, so it's going to start around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock here on Saturday.
They want to make Roman Reigns the GOAT, and to do so, I don't think you approach it as the Ric Flair approach with John Cena is. It's tied at 16 championships.
Yeah. I
think you approached Roman Reigns with the Bruno Sammartino approach. You keep the belt on him for over 3,000 days. That's how you make him the greatest of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you do too. Joe, thank you so much. Let's get into some news. We'll rattle it off. We are going a little late. We did get good news with Khamzat Chimaev. He suffered a torn ligament in his right hand with his win over Kamaru Usman last week. He's going to wear a brace on it for the next 4 weeks. At this moment, it doesn't appear he will need surgery. Good news or bad news?
I get worried sometimes when they said that he doesn't need surgery, but it gets worried me sometimes if you do need it and you go against it, But I think he's natural, but I mean in terms of like the recovery aspect. I don't know what the rules are now with the whole debacle between USADA and now that we have DHFS as our UFC sports sponsor. So I mean, I have yet to hear anyone be tested from them yet. I wonder when that's going to take effect. So I got a lot of questions into that, but I just hope that he's not going against doctors' advice in terms of avoiding.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe he wants to be a little too tough and not get surgery. But if you need surgery, I would advise to get it. I know he wants to be a little more active than he was previously because we didn't see him for over a year after he beat Kevin Holland. So we'll see. But I agree. That was my stance. The UFC is also finalizing Triple C Henry Cejudo taking on Merab Dvalishvili for an event in January. Supposedly the date is unknown. Contracts are yet to be sent out, but that's going to likely happen in January 24th, and that's going to headline a fight night. You like that fight for Merab?
I don't like it for a fight night, I'll be honest with you. I honestly think that's a fight that should be on a pay-per-view, and maybe like a co-main event, though, because it's not for a title.
No.
I guess they're really trying to push the titles on these pay-per-views, but, I mean, they don't always have to do that. I'll be honest. I think we're being a little spoiled here in terms of what we're getting from these promotions. They don't have to always do that. So I would think that's a high enough ranking fight, and with these names as big as they are, to be a co-main event for a pay-per-view, honestly.
Yeah, maybe 297 in Toronto because they thought Volkanovski Topuria was going to be headline. Maybe not headline because it's not for a belt. Maybe it's a number one contender fight. And I just don't understand why you take this fight, Merab. Like you won 9 fights in a row. Like, honestly, I would just wait. Like, that's just me, though. But I get it. He wants to fight.
I'm leaning Merab. I'll be real with you.
Me too. And if he wins, he's going to go and get a title fight.
Oh, absolutely. And he deserves it. I think he's confident in it. I think that's the thing. I think he's game. I really do. I think he works with the UFC. I think that was the only thing holding it back was his boy being champ. I really think now the sky's the
But
limit.
now
for him.
that's not a problem. So I don't
That's
understand,
not.
Joe. And I'm not saying you, but I still hear it. They go, oh, well, these two don't. He's not champion. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm
But
getting
maybe
aggressive. I'm
low
sorry.
key. No, but maybe that fight's already like low key told to like, hey Henry, hey Marab, Cheeto's got the fight. So that's happening with Sean.
Oh, 100. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
You can
now
tell.
you can wait, or if we have a fight with Henry and someone else, they could get ahead of you. You got to fight Henry,
Yeah.
or you're not getting it. And so he's like, man, I'm doing it because I think I can win, and I think he can win too.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if that fight is true and that's what the UFC wants, Sean O'Malley is fighting Marlon Vera. You know that's
right.
going to happen. So
Absolutely.
we do have a main event in UFC Austin, December 2nd. Benel Dariush will take on Arman Sarukian, December 2nd, 5-round main event. But hold up. We got a 5-round co-main event in UFC Austin. King Green will take on Dan Hooker.
Hangman Hooker.
Woo! I love it that it's 5 rounds. I'm not going to lie. I'm so happy for King Green getting this fight. He called out Dan Hooker, and he's in a position now where he could do it. He's coming off 3 wins in a row. Dan Hooker's coming off that fucking amazing win against the Tarantula. This is going to be a barn burner, kid. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a barn burner for 2 rounds, brother. I don't think this is going that far. And I really think Bobby King Green is coming in with bad intentions and Dan Hooker is on a roll. I think with those, shin tattoos, Moai shin tattoos, bro, he's a different breed right now. Dan Hooker is. Especially if he comes in with the blonde hair, bro, I don't know who I'm taking in that.
Yeah, no, it's actually insane. So we'll see. You even got Davison Figueiredo and Rob Font on that fight.
I'm actually, be honest with you, might be more excited for that.
Guess whose line is it anyway? Guess the favorite in that fight.
And which one?
Figueiredo.
Oh,
Davison Figueiredo, Rob
Font. Rob Font's the favorite.
Minus 142 for Rob Font, plus 120 for Davison Figueiredo. Very interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he might be a slight favorite, like even closer, but that makes sense. Yeah.
And speaking of UFC Austin, Roman Dolidze was supposed to fight Killer Gorilla Jared Cannonier, but he had to withdraw, because of an injury. They tried to keep Roman Dolidze on the card. They couldn't find a replacement. So Roman Dolidze is going to return to Georgia, the country, not the state, to be with his family. So I'm kind of disappointed, right?
Yeah,
I'm a Roman Dolidze fan.
Yeah, me too. I think he's super talented, and it's a shame we don't get to see him as soon as we wanted, but he'll be back. I'm guaranteeing that he's probably going to, if this is the case, he's probably going to get that Killer Gorilla fight, to be honest.
Yeah. He just has to heal up, and I think that was a barn burner of a fight, too. This UFC Austin card is going to be electric. UFC announced a highly anticipated return to Shanghai, China, December 9th for a fight night. I'm fucking excited that it's a fight night and they're going over there. What do you think the main event is going to be on this card, kid?
I have no idea who they could put as the main event, but what I could tell you is that they've been having a low-key promotion called Road to UFC, which has been focusing on a lot of Southeast Asian and Pacific fighters. And I think they're going to feature a lot of those guys on that Shanghai card because it's going to be of a card. I really think so. Shanghai always brings it.
I was thinking of who they could put, and obviously you have the champ, Zhang Wei Li, the strawweight champion.
But for a fight night?
Yeah. I mean, why not? You put her, China's own, you put her against Yan Xiaonan.
Yeah, that's a really good fight. Yan Xiaonan is on a different, saved us in Newark with her fight against Jessica Andrade. She 100%
fucked Jessica Andrade up.
So that's a great fight. And you're right. Actually, I
you
take
like
that
that.
back. I do. I think on a fight night, free television, you get all the fans looking in, investing in these two fighters, because whoever comes out as champ, you're gonna have a lot more eyes on it than you do if it was a pay-per-view where maybe there's restrictions or maybe people can't afford it, unfortunately.
And last but certainly not least, I tried to save my voice and save my diaphragm.
You were burying the lead, kid.
The Irish Dragon is back, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Elder has officially submitted his first test. Back with USADA testing pool. He'll have to go under 6 more months before he's been cleared to fight. Joe, UFC 300, 6 months away. It's not a coincidence. Give me Paul Feldner and Jim Miller for UFC 300.
Hell yeah. Yes, exactly, bro. Give me Paul Felder versus Jim Miller at UFC 300. They both fulfilled their careers. A banger of a fight. Neither one of them are going to take a step back.
No.
They're great on the ground. You know, Paul Felder's not known for his jiu-jitsu, but he's a black belt. I mean, bro, you know Miller has Miller Bros MMA. I mean, these guys are, you know, they're teaching the next generation of fighter as well. You know, you got commentating on the next generation of fighter with Paul Felder. These guys are what you look for in the OGs of the sport and who you look up to if you're trying to make this a life for yourself. And I love both of them so much. I really hope that they are the ones maybe pushing it. And that would be excellent. I would want to see like vlogs about it, the backstory. Hell yeah, man.
I don't even give a fuck what's on the card, Joe. If they put this fight together and God willing, they all stay healthy in the camp and we
the
get this
people's
fight.
main event.
Oh my God, that's the fight I want to see. We're a little biased. Joey and I are from New Jersey. Jim Miller's a fucking living legend.
The Philly's right here too.
Yeah, Philly's right here too. And I don't want to trademark it or pull it John Anik, but we always knew you weren't retired, Paulie.
Yeah.
We always knew you weren't retired. I love it.
Great.
I think I hope because like you said, Joe, they're both not going to back down. I think it's going to be a barn burner of a fight. And I hope they just go.
That was a lot of them, right? That was on Anik and Florian, and Big Gun was on it too, right? Brian Petrie was Longo. Was Ray Longo on that side when they were talking about? Because Paul was there too, right? They were on the call.
Yeah. Everyone was.
That's Killer's Row. He talked Murderer's Row right there.
All fucking legends.
all of them.
Joe, that's it. That's all I got for news. 10 seconds left. Take us away, kid. What do you got?
Focusing on BKFC, but last week's Cage Warriors, I was 2-1. So hopefully that leads up into this one tonight at 8 o'clock. BKFC 53 taking on the co-main event. I got Julian Lane right now at plus 175 against Murat Kazgan at minus 215. Money's coming in on Julian Lane. When I played him, he was a plus 240. Let me bang, bro. Taking Julian Lane in a co-main event. And then in the main event slot, we have David Redneck Mundell at minus 270, taking on Doug Coltrane, Cold Red, plus 210 the dog. But I got to take the champ. I think Redneck Mundell is legit. When I took him, he was a minus 240 favorite, and I think it's right. I got David Mundell in the main event at minus 240 and Julian Lane as the dog in the co-main event at plus 240. And then also tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., BKFC Thailand 5. We have two legends, Buakaw taking on Senchai. And I'm going with Senchai. Buakaw's a lot bigger, a lot taller, but I got to go with my guy. Every time I think of Thai fighters, I think of the OG Senchai. No odds posted, but hey, check my Twitter. I'll post it if I find it.
Joe, love it. Amazing episode today. Thank you so much. Good luck tonight. Good luck tomorrow. Hopefully we get a very good card. Hey, and we are on the road to UFC 295 in the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of Axe Kick Picks. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Joey, I am D-Rock. We'll see you guys next week with plenty of picks, plenty of hot takes. So please follow along our social media, X and Instagram at Axe Kick Picks. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you're listening to podcasts. If you missed one, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live on YouTube every Friday afternoon. So subscribe, rate, give us a review. It literally takes 5 seconds. It really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Good luck on your wagers this weekend. Be safe, be well. And we'll see you down the road. Peace.